We are now looking at the reduction of debt for paragraph 12a and a little bit of section 19. Now, at this point in time, you might not have studied certain things like section 19 yet and recoupment. I have included them in some of these examples, but at an easy way, and I'll just briefly talk about them. Your focus should be on paragraph 12a, the CGT implications. So example 1, this shows a little bit of section 19. I'll also just explain to you why section 19 and not paragraph 12a. So X Limited took out a loan of R1,000,000 from the bank to help with cash flow difficulties it was experienced. 2 months later, the bank decided to write off the outstanding loan, and the loan was used to pay for tax deductible expenses like stationery and wages. Now, paragraph 12a applies if there was a loan that you took out and you bought an asset. There must be an asset that was purchased. In this case, it's deductible expenditure, not an asset. So paragraph 12a cannot apply. You would have claimed a deduction of R1,000,000 for whatever you've paid, if it's deductible. Now that you have to repay that, or now that it's written off rather, that R1,000,000 will be a recoupment under section 19. So you would have claimed R1,000,000 as a deduction, and now a recoupment basically means that we'll recover those amounts, will be added back. Again, not too much of a stress at this point in time. Example 2, this example shows how the debt benefit is determined. Now this, you'll remember, is a definition basically in paragraph 12a. And this is the amount of the benefit that you are getting. So we have to know how to do this. So X Limited purchased land from ABC Limited for R5,000,000. 1 year later, X Limited had still not paid any of the outstanding debt as its business had suffered serious losses. What is the debt benefit if ABC Limited made the decision, so that's the creditor basically, to waive the outstanding amount? So the ABC decides to write off this full R5,000,000. What will be the amount, the debt benefit? It will be the full R5,000,000. What happens? They say ABC Limited agreed to waive the outstanding amount if X Limited paid R5,000,000. So the outstanding amount is R5,000,000. They say if X Limited pays R2,000,000, they'll write it off. So what is the debt benefit amount then, guys? R3,000,000. C. X Limited will issue shares of a market value of R4,000,000 to ABC Limited as payment for outstanding debt. Okay, so ABC Limited is getting shares in it. The market value of the shares is R4,000,000, and the debt that is being written off is R5,000,000. So can you see, you're basically only paying R4,000,000 for R5,000,000 of debt. So that R1,000,000 over there, that is our debt benefit. X Limited would issue shares to ABC Limited as a payment for the debt. ABC Limited already owns 5% of the shares with a market value of R2,000,000. After the shares are issued, they'll own 8% of the shares with a market value of R3.2. Okay, so what I want you to see is R3.2 million is the market value that they'll have. R2,000,000 is their current market value. So the difference between that is R1.2 million. So can you see that X Limited basically paid R1.2 million to pay off the R5,000,000 debt? So the debt is R5,000,000. ABC Limited is getting an extra R1.2 million in value, so the debt relief amount is R3.8 million. Example number 3. This example illustrates various scenarios where a non-allowance asset was purchased using debt that has been written off. Okay, so this is where your biggest focus should be. X Limited took out a loan of R1,000,000 with the bank that it used to finance the purchase of a piece of land. So they've got land that they've used to purchase. In year 3, which is 2 years later, the loan was still outstanding and the bank agreed to write off the loan if X Limited paid R1,000,000. So the loan or the debt is R1,000,000. You will pay 100,000. So that 900,000 that you see over there, that is the debt relief. Okay, what are the tax consequences if the land was still on hand at the time of the reduction of debt? Now guys, what are the consequences? If the land is still on hand, you reduce the base cost. So the base cost of the land was R1,000,000. You will now reduce it with that 900,000. So this is the new base cost. So understand, if tomorrow you go and sell the land for 1.2 million, for example, proceeds will be 1.2 million. And your base cost will be 100,000 Rand. So you can see that is where that 900,000 is gone. It reduces your base cost. Then I ask you, what are the tax consequences if the land was sold for 800,000 in year 2? Okay, so in year 2, year 3 it was written off. So in year 2 we still had the asset, but it was not written off. So now in year 3, when I write off the loan, the land is gone. So now we can't reduce this base cost. So this is what we have to do. In year 2, we will calculate the capital gain. Proceeds less base cost gives us a capital loss of 200,000 rands, okay, which we carry forward. Then in year 3, when they write it off, right, we then have to go and say, okay, if we had received this write-off before we sold the asset, what would have happened? So what you then do is you say, what is the base cost in year 2? Right, so you basically go back to year 2 and you say, what was the base cost in year 2? Let's reduce the debt benefit, so that's our new base cost. So then when we sell it for proceeds of 800,000, a base cost is 100, it means we've made a capital gain of 700,000. Now, in year 2, we calculated that there's a capital loss of 200,000. Now we say there's a capital gain of 700,000. So can you see? We have to have 900,000 rands more. Not 7 minus 2 is 500. It's minus 2 plus 7. So that's 900,000. That 900,000 is then our capital gain. So what happens if we sell the land for 1.3 million in year 2? So this is just to illustrate a slightly different amount. If we sell it for 1.3 million in year 2, so basically what first happened is in year 2, proceeds 1.3, base cost 1 million gives us a 300,000 rands. So it's a capital loss, but it's obviously a capital gain. Right, gives us a capital gain. Then in year 3, we now have to fix it. So the first thing that we do is we go and adjust our base cost. So our new base cost is 100,000. Then we reperform this calculation we just did. We'll reperform it to say 1.3 million minus the new base cost of 100,000 gives us 1.2. So our old capital gain was 300,000 when we calculated. The new one is 1.2 million. The difference is 900,000, and that is the amount that goes into our CGT column, which will be taxed on. Right then, guys, example 4. This is a little bit more to do also with section 19, so this is going to be a brief discussion. X Limited bought a new manufacturing machine for a cost of R1 million on credit from a supplier and bought it into use immediately in year 1. In year 3, no amount of the debt has been paid and the supplier agreed to write off the debt. You're required to calculate the tax implications above, and you may assume that the base cost of the machine at the date of the debt benefit is 200,000. So guys, this just shows you the difference between an allowance asset and a non-allowance asset. If it is an allowance asset, you will first reduce the base cost, and whatever is left is a recoupment. Okay, so the R1 million is our debt relief. If our base cost is 200,000 rands, we will first reduce the base cost, so the debt relief will reduce the base cost to 0, and the difference between R1 million and 200,000, which we've already used, is 800,000. That 800,000 will be a recoupment amount. So here you can see we first reduce the base cost, and then the rest is a recoupment amount. This is for an allowance asset and something that you'll study more under recoupments.